Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for the opportunity that is given to me to present the result of my research that's called XTPOT, Exposing Threat Category of Honeypot-based attack. Before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ryandy. I am Swiss German University Bachelor Degree graduate, and in supervising me on conducting this research is Dr. Chaslim and Mr. Kalpin Erlangga Silaen. The agenda for today, before we begin our journey, is first, we start with the introduction. What is my research main point and focus? After that, we continue onward to the method or process that I use to conduct my research. Then, after the explanation, we proceed to result and discussion. What is the insight that I get from doing this research? And we close our journey with the conclusion of the research. So, let us start from the introduction first. Hackers have been creating and utilizing malware with the intention of stealing information and compromise data, resulting disruption of business. Due to such circumstances, the malware number and sophistication level is rising. As reported by PurpleSec, the malware have cost estimated $20 billion in 2020. Such threat is known as emerging threat. This is essential due to the number is not decline anytime soon, and the creation of new malware is rapid. Therefore, there's a need of capturing such emerging threat by deploying system that is configured as weak as possible, known as honeypot, and analyze the compromise attempt done by attacker. Solution to understand the emerging threat is by gain insight behind the adversary attack, are to utilize the honeypot due to its nature of weak configuration to attract attacker. As the requirement to eliminate the traffic coming purely from the attacker, such system is deployed inside the unused IP address known as darknet of organization infrastructure. Due to the no system running behind, it can be validated that any traffic coming in and out is traffic from honeypot. For service that is emulated can be seen in the presentation, such as SSH, HTTP, FTP, and SMB, and etc. And honeypot emulate popular service that is commonly compromised. Purpose of deploying honeypot is to record the adversary attack for the data collection that is used for the future process. The method that I use in my research is shown on the slide. Is first, we collect the threat information from the honeypot Corey and Dionia. The reason behind the utilization of Corey and Dionia honeypot is due, to the bot honeypot emulate the popular service that is commonly compromised by the adversaries. The next process is the processing of the data that is collected, and the process consists of extraction of several data and grouping of each data into the appropriate honeypot for the latter process, which is analysis. And in the analysis process, the process data get analyzed, correlated, categorized, and enriched. This process is essential due to the result will be stored in repository and utilized in categorizing the incoming threat, also to determine the status of the threat, is it known or unknown. The final process of the method is evaluation, and it's done by validation by the other analysts and threat exchange source. This process is to reduce the false positive due to the possibilities of attacker performing social engineering attempt. Next. Currently, there's 8 honeypot in total that is deployed across 3 organizations in this research, which is SGU, Swiss German University, BSSN, Badan Cyber and Sandi Negara, and IHP, Indonesia Honeynet Project. The dataset collected is 2 months from the 1st of June till the end of July 2020. From the collected data is divided again into several criteria. Successful login with empty comment is at the top due to the easy credential. Also, this criteria known as brute force attempt. Unsuccessful login is on the second position. It is same as brute force attempt, but the adversary used the other credential that is not associated with the honeypot. The summary of brute force attempt is 97.8%. 97.8%. And payload send or delivery is on the third position due to the adversary try to compromise system by sending malware. While on the last position is compromised attempt known as successful login with comment. That's only 0.8%, while the attempt in number is 25,483 attempt that is collected. And it's not showing any sign of stopping soon. The next slide will show the example summary of the compromise attempt that is recorded. Here is one of the example of the sequence command set that is recorded and already analyzed based on the data. The majority of the attack is consists of profiling to learn about the target for the adversary to determine the malware known as recognition for weaponization. The next process is enumeration login user is a process to learn what user that is registered on the system. It's important for attacker to determine which other user that is present in the system. After the enumeration login user, the next step is Linux tool execution, where the user try to execute the Linux tool that is installed on the system. The next process is privilege modification. User try to access the kernel permission to have clearance to modify the SSH account and put the backdoor inside the compromised system. Next, SCS-007 or sequence command set 007 is another example that is recorded. And it's always start by profiling file system for reconnaissance. Modify the environment path and set the path into the adversary will. The next process is donor tool or weaponization. Based on the reconnaissance, the step have purpose of compromising system, and the last process is execute the tool that is already determined and downloaded. Based on two examples that I have shown on my presentation, adversary process always consists of profiling to learn about the target that is followed by the modifying system and process that execute the malware, and finally the last process is the up persistent or backdoor installation, or sometimes they put their own track known as narcissism. Okay, next. Finally, we are in the end of our journey. The conclusion of doing this research is to introduce the XDPOT, a generic framework that is used for generating cyber threat information based on the threat captured by Honeypot. This framework provides threat categorization taxonomy that is relevant to the military attack technique for the Cowrie and DNA Honeypot threat. This framework also able to generate the threat intelligence such as malicious IP, HASIS, and credential to assess the threat analysis to understand the emerging threat that is currently attacking the Honeypot. Finally, this framework also able to be correlated with other open source intelligence, resulting massive data from various sources to counter emerging threat. Okay, thank you for all of your attention. That's all for me.
Thank you, Mr. Ryandy, for the nice presentation. As before, I would like to invite all the attendees of this session to post your questions for Mr. Ryandy using the chat room. So should you have any questions, please don't be hesitate to ask the questions using the chat room. I believe that Mr. Ryandy will be delightful to answer the questions. Okay, while we are waiting, can I ask something that at the beginning of your presentation, you said that we have 8 honeypot in 3 different organizations. Are those all the honeypots that exist in Indonesia, or these are the sample that you use actually?
These are the samples, sir.
These are the sample that you use. You're using eight honeypot in total, and for 3, there is in 3 different organizations, and they are using Cowrie and Dioneer.
That's right, sir.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any questions for Mr. Ryandy? Oh no, that's yeah, for you who hasn't filled in the participant form, don't forget to fill in because the certificate will be made based on your attendance submitted to that form. Okay. Do we have any questions for there are two questions now.
Okay.
From Pak Maula, how's the roadmap for Honeypot project in Indonesia? Yeah, we know that the Honeypot project has been going on for some times, and would like to hear about what is actually the roadmap, and the current condition, maybe the current state. Will it be the whole Indonesia? Will it be implemented in the whole Indonesia? And then from Patricia, where do we use honeypots? Who should use or have honeypots, I think.
Okay.
So there are two questions.
Okay. First of all, let me answer Mr. Maula question first.
Yep.
The roadmap for Indonesia, the roadmap for Honeypot project in Indonesia. Yes, of course, it will cover all. It will cover all Indonesia. But right now, our roadmap is on the testing, and hopefully in sooner or next month we will deploy our honeypot across Indonesia. Okay, is that answer?
So it will be deployed all over Indonesia?
Yeah.
How many honeypots are we looking at, the target?
The target may be around 100 to 200 honeypots.
Oh, okay. And it will be spread in different organization and company all over Indonesia.
Yes, that's right, sir.
And we expect to complete this by next year or the end of this year?
Next year, next year. Okay. Because also next year we will have our roadmap will be cover Asian.
All Asia.
We will also cover Vietnam and Myanmar, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. The other question from Patricia, can I ask where do you use the honeypots, or maybe not where, maybe I think more appropriate if we can say that who should use or who should have honeypots, I think.
Okay. For Miss Patricia, it's depend. If you want to get basically honeypot can be deployed in three places. First, behind the organization, and the second one on public, or we can deploy it on the router or firewall. Yeah, or the MZ. It depends. If you want to catch the insider or people that are malicious insider, we can deploy our honeypot behind the organization infrastructure, and hopefully we get the insider attack. If we want to get the attack from the outside, we want to know how is current attacker deploy their attack. Yeah, we can deploy it in public environment, and in the MZ, it's on the gray area. You can capture the insider attack and also the outsider attack. Yep.
So there are three different layers where you can actually put your honeypot.
That's right.
Inside, in between the MZ, and then also at the outside of the organization. And again, I think honeypot will help you. It will act as a bait. So when there's an attack, instead of attacking the real system, it will be attracted by the honeypot. And then, of course, the most important thing, if let's say we have already collected number of attacks, then the next step is actually to learn or to analyze this data, and then you can build a system that can detect and help you to avoid the same attack from happening again in the future. So it's not only about decoy or bait, but it also will be very helpful for us, our organization, to study about the attack or the malware, anything that is malicious happening in the network, actually. Okay.
Very nice.
Okay, so any more questions for Mr. Ryandy? All right. If there's no more questions, thank you again, Mr. Ryandy, for your presentation. I think it's a very nice work, and wish you good luck for your future work. Okay, thanks again.